New Dawn, a small human colony on the edge of known space, hung silently beneath a blood-red sky, its surface scarred by the remnants of the last alien attack. The settlers had tried to build a peaceful life far from Earth, dreaming of a fresh start among the stars. But danger had found them instead. Commander Aria Jensen stood on the ridge overlooking the colony's main outpost, her eyes scanning the horizon where distant flashes of light hinted at an approaching storm. She could feel the weight of every life depending on her, every hope resting on her decisions. The communication room crackled softly with incoming signals, most of them weak and distorted, a constant reminder of the colony's fragile isolation. For months, the mysterious alien fleet had appeared in the system, striking quickly and disappearing before the small human defenders could mount a serious resistance. Their ships moved like shadows, silent and deadly, showing no signs of mercy. The colonists had tried to fight back, using their limited weaponry and scavenged technology, but each encounter left them weaker, their numbers shrinking. Children slept in shelters made of steel and stone, their innocence shattered by the sounds of distant explosions and warning sirens. No one knew who the attackers were or what they wanted. Some speculated they sought control of New Dawn's rare minerals, while others whispered darker theories that the aliens saw humanity as a threat to be wiped out before it could grow stronger. Aria herself did not have answers. All she had was a stubborn determination not to let her people fall without a fight. Tonight, she gathered her commanders in the war room, a cramped, dimly lit space filled with holographic star maps and blinking consoles. Voices were low but urgent, the tension almost tangible. "We can't keep holding them off forever," said Lieutenant Marks, his brow furrowed with worry. "Their fleet is growing larger every week. Our ammo reserves won't last another month." "Then we need help," Aria said firmly, tapping a coordinate on the star map, Earth's location, millions of kilometers away. "We send a distress signal. Someone has to answer. We're not alone out here." The room fell silent. Sending a call for help was risky. It could be intercepted by the enemy or ignored entirely. Earth had always seemed distant and indifferent to the struggles on the frontier. Many believed a homeworld was too busy with its own problems to care about a remote colony. But hope was all they had left. Outside, the sky darkened further as storm clouds gathered and a cold wind swept through the settlement. In the distance, lights blinked on the alien ships, their sharp silhouettes growing clearer with each passing minute. The colony's defense cannons were ready but unmanned, their operators too few and too exhausted from constant vigilance. Aria's fingers hovered over the transmitter controls. Her heart pounded with the fear of rejection and the fear of death. The signal burst into space, a desperate plea sent across light years. "This is New Dawn Colony. We are under attack. Request immediate aid from Earth Command. Repeat, immediate aid required." The message echoed in the void, a small voice reaching out into the cold darkness. Days passed with no reply. Each night, the alien fleet loomed closer, testing the colony's defenses with brutal raids. Homes burned, fields were destroyed, and hope seemed to flicker like a dying flame. Aria moved through the wreckage, offering words of encouragement, her presence a fragile shield against despair. One evening, as the sun set behind jagged mountains, a scout ship returned with urgent news more alien reinforcements were on their way, larger and more heavily armed than ever before. The colony's leadership met again, tension rising with every decision. Supplies were low. Morale was fragile. and the once quiet star system had become a battleground. Still, no response came from Earth. Rumors spread that the galaxy's great powers had declared humanity a minor threat, not worth the trouble. But Arya refused to believe it. She knew that somewhere out there, beyond the stars, lay Earth's mightiest armada, a force of unmatched strength and pride. If only they could arrive in time. As the colony prepared for what could be their last stand, a new sound echoed faintly through the comms, a signal, faint but unmistakable, breaking through the static. Arya rushed to the console, heart racing as the voice began to form words. New dawn. This is Earth Command. We received your call. Help is coming. Relief and determination surged through the colony like wildfire. For the first time in months, the people dared to dream again. The silent threat had been waiting for an easy victory, but they had underestimated one thing: the courage of humanity and the promise of Earth's mightiest warriors. The moment Earth Command's message reached New Dawn, a fragile hope flickered across the colony like a sudden dawn after a long, dark night. But that hope brought with it a new wave of tension and fear, because the alien fleet did not slow or retreat. Instead, the enemy forces seemed to sense the shift, their shadows growing longer on the horizon, moving with more purpose and menace, as if they knew the greatest threat humanity could send was on its way. Commander Arya Jensen stood once again on the ridge overlooking the battered settlement, watching the stars for any sign of the promised rescue, her mind racing through every possible scenario. What if the fleet was too small? What if it came too late? Or worse, what if Earth's mighty armada arrived only to find a broken colony and no way to fight back? Meanwhile, deep in the orbit of Earth, the massive armada prepared for war with precision and speed rarely seen in human history. Every ship, from the smallest fighter to the colossal dreadnoughts, was checked, tested, and armed with the latest technology designed not just to fight, but to overwhelm enemies who had dared to challenge humanity's place in the galaxy. Officers moved through corridors humming with urgency, crews drilled tirelessly, and commanders plotted strategies on holographic displays. Aware that this was more than a rescue mission, it was a statement, a bold declaration that Earth would no longer hide behind its own borders or remain silent as its people suffered. Admiral Marcus Hale, the fleet's seasoned leader, felt the weight of that responsibility as he stared out of the command bridge at the swirling cosmos, knowing that every move they made would ripple through the stars and change everything. Back on New Dawn, the colonists had little time to prepare for the arrival of their saviors as the alien fleet's attacks intensified, hitting supply depots and communication arrays in a brutal campaign designed to crush morale and weaken resistance before Earth's forces could intervene. The explosions lighting up the crimson sky and shaking the ground beneath their feet. In the cramped shelters and underground bunkers, families huddled together, whispering prayers and hope. As explosions boomed overhead, children wide-eyed and frightened, yet clinging to the belief that Earth's armada was coming, that salvation was near. Despite the chaos, Arya refused to surrender to despair. She organized patrols, rallied fighters, and made use of every resource, however small, determined to buy time for the fleet she had never seen but trusted with all her heart. And then, in the cold silence between battles, strange signals appeared on the colony's sensors, patterns of light and sound unlike the alien attacks, mysterious and faint, but unmistakably artificial, hinting at the presence of unknown players watching from the shadows. The colonists grew wary, wondering if their enemies had allies or if greater dangers lurked beyond the visible war, fueling rumors and fear. Among the weary defenders, on the Armada's approach, Ships began to detect increased enemy activity ambushes, scouting probes, and electronic jamming aimed at confusing and dividing the fleet. Admiral Hale ordered the deployment of specialized reconnaissance squads, sleek and stealthy vessels tasked with uncovering the true strength and movements of the alien forces, knowing that understanding the enemy's tactics was crucial to victory. As the Armada crossed into the contested space, the stars seemed to darken with the presence of countless warships. The void filled with tension as both sides prepared for a confrontation unlike any before. And then, as Earth's fleet emerged fully from hyperspace, a moment of silence fell over New Dawn, a breath held by every soul on the colony before the sky exploded with energy as the human armada unleashed a barrage of precise, coordinated strikes against the enemy's forward positions. The battle was fierce and chaotic, with the alien fleet responding with brutal counterattacks that tested the limits of the human ships and crews. Yet, amidst the carnage, humanity's spirit shone brightly. Pilots executed daring maneuvers, engineers worked tirelessly to repair damaged vessels mid-fight, and commanders adapted swiftly to shifting battle conditions, turning setbacks into opportunities. Back on New Dawn, Aria watched the war unfold. From her command center, her heart pounding with each report and every broadcast from the fleet, knowing that this fight was more than about survival. It was about reclaiming honor and proving that humanity would never be conquered or forgotten. But even as victory seemed within reach, the alien commanders revealed their true nature: ruthless, calculating, and unwilling to yield, unleashing a new weapon, a devastating energy wave that crippled several human ships and forced the fleet to regroup under heavy fire. The Armada's resilience was tested like never before, but Admiral Hale refused to back down, ordering a risky counterattack aimed at the enemy's command vessels, betting everything on the element of surprise and humanity's relentless will to win. In the midst of the battle, strange transmissions from the mysterious signals picked up earlier grew clearer, revealing encrypted messages that hinted at a hidden faction within the alien forces, possibly dissenters or spies who might be convinced to turn against their leaders. Arya and the fleet's intelligence officers worked feverishly to decode the transmissions, hoping to find an advantage in the complex web of enemies and allies. As the fighting continued, the colonists' determination only grew stronger. Their survival depended on the Armada's success, and their faith in Earth's mightiest warriors fueled their courage and resistance. Slowly but surely, the tide of battle shifted. The human fleet pressed its advantage, exploiting weaknesses uncovered by intelligence and daring tactics. The alien fleet's formations began to falter, and their attacks lost coordination. Still, the fight was far from over, and both sides paid heavy prices. The sky above New Dawn was scarred with the remnants of war, but through the smoke and fire, beams of light from the human fleet shone like beacons of hope. At last, after days of relentless fighting, the alien commanders called for a retreat, their forces pulling back to regroup and reconsider their strategy. Silence returned to the battlefield, broken only by the cheers and tears of the relieved colonists and fleet crews. But beneath the surface, the threat had only grown more dangerous. Shadows in the galaxy were gathering, watching the outcome and waiting for the right moment to strike again. Commander Aria and Admiral Hale exchanged a look of understanding. This victory was only the beginning, and the real war to defend humanity's future was just beginning, casting long shadows on the horizon. The tension that gripped New Dawn was nearly unbearable as the massive Earth Armada finally entered the system's orbit, a colossal fleet that turned the dark skies into a spectacle of shining metal and pulsing energy, every ship a testament to human engineering and relentless spirit. Commander Arya Jensen stood on the highest observation deck of the colony's command center, her eyes wide with a mix of relief and awe as the fleet's first warships broke through the planet's upper atmosphere, their hulls reflecting the fading light of the alien sun, signaling to all that Earth's might had arrived at last. Yet, even as cheers erupted among the colonists, the sense of danger remained thick because the alien forces were not idle, and the arrival of the Armada sparked a brutal escalation rather than a surrender, with enemy vessels swarming from hidden positions and launching desperate attacks aimed at crippling the newcomers before they could fully deploy their power. On the Armada's flagship, the valiant Spirit, Admiral Marcus Hale coordinated the fleet's initial assault, commanding with calm precision and fierce determination, knowing every moment counted as the fate of New Dawn, and perhaps humanity's place in the galaxy hung in the balance. Massive energy cannons roared to life, beams of concentrated plasma cutting through the void, while fighter squadrons darted in and out of combat, executing daring strikes against enemy fighters and capital ships alike. Weaving a deadly dance amid explosions and debris, the alien attackers fought with savage intensity, their ships designed for stealth and rapid assault, but they had not anticipated the coordination, resilience, and raw power of Earth's fleet, which moved as one, leveraging advanced AI support systems and centuries of combined battle experience. Below, in New Dawn's command center, Arya received constant updates from the battlefield, her mind racing to connect each piece of information to adjust defenses and send reinforcements where needed, all while trying to maintain calm among the terrified settlers. As the battle raged overhead, she could hear the distant rumbles of ground attacks, where alien landing parties sought to sabotage key facilities and capture vital resources, forcing human defenders into brutal, close-quarters combat that tested their courage and resolve. Yet, amid the chaos, moments of hope and heroism shone through pilots who sacrificed themselves to protect retreating transports, engineers who repaired broken weapons under fire, and medics who raced to save the wounded, even as explosions shook the ground beneath them. As the fight continued, the Armada's commanders began to reveal hidden weapons and technologies that had long been kept secret from the public: devastating plasma torpedoes, gravity well generators that trapped enemy ships in invisible cages, and energy shields that could withstand prolonged bombardment. Each innovation turned the tide further, pushing back the alien fleet bit by bit, disrupting their formations and breaking their will to fight. However, the enemy commanders were cunning, employing guerrilla tactics and feints that kept the humans on edge, forcing constant vigilance and quick thinking. Then, in a shocking turn, the alien flagship, a massive vessel cloaked in shadow and protected by layers of energy barriers, unleashed a powerful shockwave that temporarily disabled several human ships, creating a gap in the line that threatened to undo all the progress the Armada had made. Admiral Hale responded swiftly, ordering a risky maneuver that sent a strike team directly into the heart of the enemy flagship, a daring boarding operation aimed at capturing critical systems and turning the enemy's strength against them. The strike team, led by Captain Elena Rios, a battle-hardened veteran known for her bravery and tactical genius, descended into the alien vessel through chaotic corridors filled with hostile forces and deadly traps. There, every step a fight for survival, while below decks, Arya coordinated the defense of the colony, dispatching squads to repel alien saboteurs and protect vital infrastructure. Her voice steady but urgent as she inspired her people not to give in, not to lose hope even in the face of overwhelming odds. Back in space, the boarding party made slow but steady progress, hacking alien technology and disabling key weapon systems, turning the tied from within and sowing confusion among the enemy's ranks. Meanwhile, the Armada's main fleet pressed its advantage, pushing forward with renewed vigor and reclaiming control of key strategic points. Around New Dawn, the battle was far from over, and sacrifices were heavy. Ships were lost. Brave fighters fell, and the cost of freedom became painfully clear. But with every victory, humanity proved why they had survived so long against impossible threats: their will to fight, their unity, and their unbreakable spirit. As the alien flagship began to falter, its defenses breached from within and without. Enemy forces started a desperate retreat, scattering into the dark void in search of safety, while Earth's Armada held its ground, ready for the next challenge. In the aftermath, as the stars returned to their usual peaceful glow, the people of New Dawn emerged from shelters, faces stained with soot but shining with renewed hope, knowing that they were no longer alone and that Earth's mightiest warriors had come when they were needed most. Commander Aria Jensen and Admiral Marcus Hale met for the first time in person, a meeting charged with respect and shared determination, united by the trials they had faced and the battles yet to come. Together, they vowed that New Dawn would not be the last colony saved, that humanity would stand strong among the stars, prepared for any threat that dared to challenge their existence. The arrival of the Armada was not just a rescue, it was the beginning of a new era, one where humanity took its rightful place as a powerful force in the galaxy, and where the shadows on the horizon would be met with fire, courage, and unyielding hope. With the alien fleet pushed back and New Dawn safe for now, the atmosphere shifted from desperation to determination as the leaders of Earth's mightiest armada and the colony gathered to plan the next steps of humanity's fight for survival and respect in the galaxy. Commander Aria Jensen, still exhausted but resolute, stood shoulder to shoulder with Admiral Marcus Hale and his trusted officers in the Armada's mobile command center, a sleek, high-tech vessel orbiting above the planet, where glowing star charts and data streams painted the room in blue light. They all knew the recent battle was only the opening act of a much larger conflict, and the alien forces that had attacked New Dawn were part of a greater threat that could strike any human settlement or friendly world at any time if left unchecked. The question was how to build a strong, united front from the scattered colonies, distant human worlds, and cautious alien allies, many of whom doubted Earth's promise and the power of its fleet. Admiral Hale spoke with quiet authority, outlining the plan to extend the Armada's reach beyond New Dawn, to protect and connect the vulnerable outposts, and to send clear signals across the stars that humanity was no longer isolated or defenseless. Meanwhile, Aria shared her first-hand experiences of the colony's struggles, the bravery of its people, and the urgent need to strengthen communication and supply lines so no settlement would ever face such terror alone again. As the two leaders spoke, a sense of unity began to grow among the assembled commanders and diplomats, a shared understanding that survival depended on cooperation, trust, and the willingness to fight together. Far from Earth, in the shadowed regions of space, the alien forces regrouped as well, their commanders furious and shaken by the unexpected arrival and power of the human armada. They sent urgent messages to unknown allies, warning of the humans' growing strength and the danger they posed to long-held control of the frontier systems. In response, strange new ships appeared in the outskirts of explored space, massive, unfamiliar war machines that hinted at a darker, more dangerous force behind the initial attacks. Back on New Dawn, the people worked tirelessly to rebuild. By the Armada's presence, but tempered by the knowledge that the war was far from over. Engineers repaired shattered buildings and damaged defense turrets. Farmers replanted scorched fields, and medics treated the injured, all while scouts and patrols ventured into nearby wildlands, searching for signs of enemy spies or sabotage. Arya personally oversaw the fortification of the colony's defenses, refusing to allow complacency to take root, her leadership inspiring confidence in the weary settlers. At the same time, Earth's diplomatic corps reached out to nearby alien civilizations, some long-time trading partners, others former rivals, offering alliances, trade agreements, and mutual defense. Pacts that began to reshape the political landscape of the region. Many alien leaders remained cautious, their suspicions deep, but the display of Earth's armada and the willingness of human leaders to cooperate gradually chipped away at centuries of mistrust. As new alliances formed, Earth's fleet began joint training exercises with allied ships, sharing technology and battle strategies that combined human ingenuity with alien strengths. The cooperation created a powerful sense of shared purpose, a first real step toward a united front against the growing threats. Yet, amid the hopeful progress, the shadows of war deepened. Encrypted intelligence reports revealed that the mysterious new war machines were part of a secret project run by a hidden faction within the alien empire, a group willing to use extreme measures to crush humanity and all who stood with it. These reports warned that the next wave of attacks would be larger, faster, and more devastating, designed not just to defeat Earth's forces, but to break the will of every human and allied world. The Armada's leaders faced difficult decisions: how to prepare for a war that could escalate beyond anything fought before, how to protect vulnerable colonies without spreading their forces too thin, and how to keep the fragile alliances strong in the face of fear and uncertainty. Tension simmered beneath the surface of the grand strategy meetings, where old rivalries, doubts, and fears threatened to undermine the unity they so desperately needed. Commander Arya found herself in the middle of delicate negotiations between human commanders and skeptical alien diplomats, her calm but firm voice reminding everyone that failure to unite meant defeat and destruction. As the Armada extended its patrols, it uncovered hidden enemy bases and supply depots, dark outposts filled with deadly traps and automated defenses, proof that the enemy was preparing for a prolonged war. Elite strike teams carried out dangerous raids to disrupt these operations, often at great cost, proving humanity's willingness to fight dirty if needed to protect their future. Back on New Dawn, a new generation of fighters trained under the guidance of Earth's veterans, their eyes filled with determination and pride, ready to stand beside the Armada whenever called upon. And as the Alliance's fleets moved like a growing wave across the frontier, strange transmissions were intercepted from the enemy's commanders, filled with threats and promises of annihilation, but also hints of fear that humanity's unity might just be too strong to break. With the galaxy watching closely, Earth's mightiest armada prepared to stand firm, to fight not just for survival, but to create a new era where humanity and its allies would be a powerful force for peace, justice, and freedom. The front was uniting, but the real test, the war that would decide the fate of countless worlds, was just beginning, and every step forward was shadowed by the looming storm waiting beyond the horizon. The quiet that settled over the galaxy was deceptive, a fragile calm before the storm as Earth's mighty armada and its growing alliance prepared for what could be the greatest battle in human history. Commander Arya Jensen stood on the bridge of the flagship Valiant Spirit, her eyes scanning the star-filled void where enemy forces had gathered in secret. A massive fleet, unlike any before, bristling with new, terrifying weapons and led by ruthless commanders who had sworn to crush humanity once and for all. The weight of responsibility pressed heavily on her shoulders, because this battle would not just decide the fate of New Dawn or even Earth, but the future of all free worlds that had joined the cause, and failure was not an option. Not after all the sacrifices made, not after the hope that had been ignited in every corner of the stars. Admiral Marcus Hale stood beside her, calm yet resolute, knowing that this was the moment where humanity's true strength, their courage, their unity, their unbreakable will would be tested in ways never imagined. As the Armada formed a protective ring around the Allied planets, ready to meet the enemy's onslaught head-on, beneath the surface of the Grand Fleet, engineers and crews were tirelessly, weapons systems charged, shields at full capacity, and communication networks humming with activity as diplomats and military leaders coordinated their final strategies, aware that every decision could mean the difference between victory and total annihilation. The colonies, millions, held their breath, watching the skies and waiting for news, their lives intertwined with the fate of the fleets fighting among the stars, knowing that they were part of something far bigger than any one person or place. As the alien forces launched their first wave, a dark shadow swept across the star system's vast, deadly strike teams that aimed to break through defenses and cripple the Alliance before the main battle began. But humanity was ready. Networks alert and their fleets vigilant. And the enemy's surprise was met with fierce resistance. Pilots engaging in desperate dogfights that lit the blackness with bursts of plasma fire, while massive warships exchanged devastating volleys that shook the fabric of space itself. The battle unfolded like a deadly dance, a clash of titans where strategy, skill, and sheer determination shaped every moment. And even as losses mounted, neither side showed signs of backing down. Amid the chaos, Arya led a special task force to infiltrate the enemy's command vessel, a mission fraught with danger, but vital to turning the tide. And as they fought their way through alien corridors filled with hostile forces and unexpected traps, every breath was a fight for survival, and every step brought them closer to the heart of the enemy's plans. Back on the fleet's command bridge, Admiral Hale coordinated reinforcements and adapted tactics in real time, weaving a complex web of offense and defense that pushed the enemy into retreat, but warned that the war was far from over. Even as Earth's forces gained ground, new intelligence revealed that the alien commanders had hidden reserve secret weapons and allies waiting to strike at the most vulnerable points, threatening to undo all the progress made and plunge the galaxy into chaos. With time running out, humanity's leaders made the bold choice to unite their combined forces in a final, decisive assault that would either end the war or cost them everything. The fleet surged forward, a magnificent and terrifying wave of power, breaking through enemy lines with relentless force. Supported by Allied ships that fought side by side, their cooperation a symbol of the new era, being forged in fire and blood. In the heart of the battle, Arya's strike team succeeded in disabling the enemy's command systems, sowing confusion and chaos among their ranks. And with the enemy fleet leader crippled, the tide turned irrevocably in humanity's favor. The alien forces began a full retreat, but not before unleashing one last, desperate attack, an enormous weapon of destruction aimed at New Dawn itself, threatening to destroy the colony they had fought so hard to protect. In a race against time, the Armada's fastest ships scrambled to intercept the weapon, while Arya and her team coordinated ground defenses. rallying colonists and soldiers to stand firm and prepare for what could be the final test of their strength. The interception was successful, the weapon destroyed in a blinding explosion that shook the skies and echoed through the hearts of all who witnessed it. A powerful reminder of the cost of war and the price of victory as the enemy fled, broken and defeated. A new dawn rose over the galaxy Earth, and its allies stood victorious, their alliance stronger and their resolve unshaken, ready to rebuild, to explore, and to defend their place among the stars. Celebrations erupted across the colonies, but the leaders knew their work was just beginning. Peace was fragile, and the lessons of war would guide their future as they forged new bonds and prepared to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Commander Aria Jensen and Admiral Marcus Hale looked out at the stars, knowing that Earth's dawn was not just a moment of triumph, but the start of a lasting legacy, a legacy of courage, unity, and hope that would inspire generations to come and ensure that humanity's light would never be extinguished in the vast, mysterious darkness of space.